Catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.
Instead of crying about Mondays and too many days in the week, use every day that you don't have to pray for days that do not exist already. This is Tony's Tech Side. My 1 minute or just a few words worth inspiration, squeezed into just a few seconds. Try to make sense of it. This is Tony's Tech Side. Welcome. We'll learn a tech word, and then I will share the most important and juiciest tech stories impacting the continent of Africa to keep you informed. I'm letting you know what exactly is happening in this space. Whether you understand or not, at least you're one step ahead mentally of every other person who really hasn't even heard the news, or when they hear it, they don't really understand what it is about. You can share your stories with the rest of us on WhatsApp, text, or send a voice note on 0913-558-1766. 0913-558-1766. Please add +234 if you're texting from outside Nigeria. Our tech word for the day is hashtag. Hashtag. And someone's like, well, how's that like a word? Why would you make that a word? I'm like, everybody hashtags something, right? Like hashtag Monday motivation, hashtag Friday feeling. But what exactly is a hashtag? Like how useful is it? What is it for? Like what's its significance? The hash symbol, that's the hash, the double strokes across. That symbol is called a hashtag. You see it on your keyboard. Yes, it's used to mark keywords or topics in anything, a write-up, a tweet, a post, anything whatsoever. Words or phrases that follow that hashtag are automatically transformed into links that lead to an aggregated list of posts or tweets or write-ups, that include the same hashtag. So what the internet does is that it brings all together like a list of everything that has to do with that hashtag for you. So if you add, your own write-up with a hashtag, it brings your content every time someone searches for that hashtags. And hashtags make content easier to search, and it can be utilized to find this content regarding one particular topic or an event or anything. So you see IWC 2023, World Cup, FIFA 2023. So now everyone literally uses it. You have an event, you say you create a hashtag for it so that people can find it easily, right? So you add 23, you add 22, 21, you have hashtag Messi, hashtag see Ronaldo, hashtag Africa, hashtag Africa Tech Radio, hashtag anything, right? That's what you do. And I think that's really just about it. The word for today, hashtag. Now, moving straight into the stories that are impacting the continent. First, I think this is really important. I heard of this last week and I wanted to really understand what was going on. So here it is. You may have heard of it, right? But MTN Nigeria has selected American Tower Co. ATC to take over its Nigerian tower operations from the IHS Holding Limited from the year 2025. Now, this is coming as leases for approximately 2,500 of its network sites in Nigeria, which are being serviced by IHS, will expire in 2024 and 2025. And MTN has notified the Nigerian Exchange Limited and the investing public that the lease of approximately 2.5k network sites, for which IHS, currently provides tower services, will expire. And in line with MTN's procurement policy, in their words, they're trying to ensure a transparent and competitive bidding process, and they've been able to go for ATC, right? They're moving from IHS to ATC. ATC is the American Tower Co, and IHS is the one they're moving from. So in 2022, this is like the backstory, MTN completed a sale and leaseback deal with IHS for more than 5,700 of its South African tower sites. And since the deal was reached, the two companies have been having some back and forth in shareholder dispute over governance issues. MTN holds a 26% stake in the tower company IHS. Together with Wendell SC and MTN Group Limited, they own about 45% of the company. Both shareholders had argued that all shareholders with at least 10% stake should have the power to nominate board members. Now, IHS is the largest telecoms infrastructure provider in Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East by tower count. And in Nigeria, IHS Towers and its subsidiaries manage over 16,700 sites. Now, taking 2.5k seems like, it might not really hurt that much, but trust me, MTN is a big fish in the water. I mean, in the ocean. And I hope that they can maybe somewhere in the near future, right, find a way to resolve that particular problem. Talking about big fishes, Flutterwave is a big fish in the Nigerian tech space. In fact, on the continent of Africa, Flutterwave is big, and Nigeria's Flutterwave will be launching its SendApp in India. Yes, they're going to India. Flutterwave is on to India. They'll be teaming up with India's InstaDeep Bank to launch the SendApp remittance right in the heart of India. And their partner in India, InstaDeep Bank, has 35 million customers, and Flutterwave already has 30 African countries. They have their foots firm in 30 African countries, and this would most likely push Flutterwave's IPO plans into like real quick moves and high gear. And they're already securing a payment service license in Egypt in June, I think, and a name approval for its remittance business in August. And I know they also had a thing to do with the Central Bank of Kenya. That's a money remittance license from the Central Bank of Kenya. And the integration, the very recent integration with the International Air Transport Association's IATA financial gateway, which will enable Africans to settle their airline fees in their local currencies. So Flutterwave is moving, some people would say, albeit, like underneath, right? But you're doing big things, and they're actually looking at persons and companies, like them, who are as big as they are or who have some form of firm footing elsewhere, and they're collaborating and they're partnering and they're doing really great things. Talking about someone who's also big in the space would be Inya Boyeji. I remember some 2-3 weeks ago, about a month ago, where he made some tweets, right, about the exchange market and whatnot, and I think it was about 24 hours. This happened over the weekend, and by Monday, the Central Bank of Nigeria had already started making announcements and whatnot about how they're going to, change things up in that space. So he's clearly a big, very big fish. Actually, everyone on the continent knows E. Some people just say E, right? But if you're Nigerian, if you're Yoruba, you most likely say E, right? You'd say it that way. So he's behind Etana, I think it's Etana, ITANA, it's Etana, which was formerly known as Talent City, because they just secured $2 million fund from Local Globe, Pronormous Capital, and Future Africa to build what is Africa's first digital free zone in their estimation. So what's a free trade zone, kind of, right? It's an area where when you build industries, you have some certain cutbacks, like, you get some things free, right? So that you can really advance that particular industry and that place. But they're thinking of Africa's first digital free zone. So in terms of taxation and whatnot, how exactly? Because it's not physical, right? It's totally virtual. The aim is to be the go-to online jurisdiction for global tech companies scaling across Africa. It's built on 3 key pillars. This is from Etana: governance, infrastructure, and community. And it was founded by ex Sandela and Flutterwave's co-founder Ini Oluwa Aboyeji, Lukman Edu, and Coco Liu. And they want to use the online jurisdiction to enable tech-focused businesses and startups to incorporate and operate fully online as a free zone enterprise. And they're going to leverage several business services and tax incentives, immigration, banking, investment, and protection. Wow. So this means that Etana will be able to extend the benefits of the traditional industries, the traditional free trade zone, the one that the traditional industries have, and FDI investments, and the list I've just rolled out. This would be possible for digital and service industries. Well, I believe, just like I think Inni also believes, that the Nigeria Startup Act, the NSA, which just got signed, is one. The appointment of the CC Hub founder, that is Bosun Tijani, as Nigeria's new Minister for Digital Economy, is 2. And, the listing of Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority, NEBSA, as one of the partners for Eternal. These are, among other things, which is the rate at which the contribution to GDP, which services sector is contributing to Nigeria. All of these things put together will somehow help whatever plans they have to ensure that this actually happens. Aside from the digital free trade zone, Eternal, said last year that they had secured $10 million or over $10 million to build a charter city in the Lekki Free Trade Zone. That's on the outskirts of Nigeria's commercial city, Lagos. As of 2022, Eternal said that the 72,000 square meter plot of land intends to house 1,000 residents and 2,500 remote workers, and the project's first phase will be concluded in the next 4 years. So it won't just be building something that is digitally, but also trying to create a space for digital nomads, kind of. And I am waiting, for this to actually happen. I cannot wait for it to get manifested, like for it to manifest right before our own eyes. Well, Amapiano, Zulu or Sofa? I can't do the whole click thing, like, right? But Amapiano has been taken over by almost everybody. Now has like an Amapiano something going on. Oja piano, Kola piano. People even add piano to like Amapiano to like whatever sound they're creating, and just make it theirs. Originally, it's Zulu, and it's a Zulu word which translates to the pianos. It's a subgenre of house music that emerged in South Africa. Some people say it happened or started before the 2010s, but then that's when we kind of like gain popularity. And if you listen carefully, deep house, jazz, lounge music, bass lines, these are the things you're most likely going to hear in a proper Amapiano song. Well, let's head to South Africa. Yes, the home of Amapiano. Well, I'll leave that. Like everyone across from Kenya to Nigeria, Ghana, everyone's using an Amapiano sound, even across the world. So the Chinese ambassador to South Africa, Shen Zhendong, representing the China National Space Administration and the South African National Space Agency, SANSA CEO. So SANSA I have a soft spot for SANSA. In 2023 September, the first week of September, they signed an MOU on the International Lunar Research Station Corporation, the ILRS. Now, what is this supposed to do? This collaborative partnership is to carry out, efforts together, demonstration, implementation, operation, and application of the International Lunar Research Station Corporation, as well as provide training exercises. And also, this project will help to construct a permanent lunar base in the 2030s. That is China and South Africa working together to maybe create a base on the moon. Exactly, that's what this just means. And they're saying 2030, so let's just let no comments actually until we start seeing things that show that this is actually possible. Because I know that as much as we want to go out of the world, as much as we want to be interstellar and out of space or in space, depending on how you consider it, humanity still has a long way to go when it comes to working and doing things, and even understanding not just the earth, the space we're in, but the outer space, like everywhere else outside of earth. And it's really something that's really important. And I think Olamide will most likely talk about this when she comes on, but a lot of people are moving, despite the discussions had between the president of Kenya, William Ruto, and the CEO of TikTok. Despite those conversations, people have still been moving, and someone just petitioned the House of Assembly in Kenya saying TikTok live streaming should be banned. And for the KFCB, that's the Kenyan Film Classification Board, they're moving more towards blacklisting devices that are used to live stream explicit content on TikTok. Most times, it's usually during the wee hours of the night, yes, and then music starts playing, and then the red and green lights or blue lights, like they usually do for that challenge, yes, comes on and woof, oh my. Let's leave that. This is our note, please. No, take your mind off the ground. Not here, please. Not here. So they had a sit down, TikTok and the Kenyan president William Ruto, and even the film classification board, data protection body, they all had to sit down and they said we need to actually find a way to make TikTok work in our country. We cannot just be classified alongside other people however you want to operate. No, it's not going to be possible. So anyone who posts explicit content will shut down their accounts, and we will restrict their devices from being able to go online and do what you have to do. And you will also try to classify every account, like tie every account to a particular phone number and a particular device. So if you think that when you switch up your devices or change your email addresses, there will be a cut. Trust me. Except if you're going to keep buying devices like every time you need to live stream. And I think it's, something that wouldn't really work. So aside the move to ban TikTok in Kenya, which somehow has been switched to banning explicit content, Uganda and Egypt, for similar reasons, it's either immorality or threat to the nation, have also, had some kind of restriction on TikTok. And Senegal, Somalia, same thing. I shared that of Somalia, I think 2 months ago. Now, there's also another side to this particular debate of either banning or restricting users. Now, if the power rests on TikTok, there is a different issue. If the power to ban or restrict rests with the government of that country, there's another totally different issue. For example, when elections come up and then, countries say, let's restrict the internet, let's block Twitter, let's do this, let's do that. Who now has the powers? Like, who has the powers to say, no, let's not do that? Who exactly should have the power to restrict or to ban? Should it be a joint effort, or should it be a singular effort of just the government or just TikTok? And should people have a say in these things? Like me now, like I would have a say to appeal, and who is going to be the final body to decide? Well, until everything really unfolds, I really don't know how, I really don't know who should have the powers, but you can, let us know in the comments. Let's know who you think should have the powers, whether it should be with the government, whether it should be with TikTok, or whether it should just be a free-for-all thing. And then finally, in Ethiopia, they are working with Madras security printers to produce new digital IDs known as Fayda for its 120 million people. And I think Ethiopia is second to Nigeria in terms of population, the second largest country on the continent. Yes. And this bid is worth $300,000. And this Madras security guys would be manufacturing 1 million digital IDs. While this is like really a thing, I'd want to draw our attention to something else that's a thing, and it's the first self-sovereign national digital ID card. Yes, and most of Bhutan's 780,000 plus people will most likely be getting the first set of self-sovereign national digital ID cards. What's a national digital? Yes, a national digital ID card, self-sovereign. I would explain it this way. When you go in to register yourself, any kind of registration whatsoever, they capture your face, they do your fingerprints, all of those things, and it is stored with a particular body, right? So that body, keeps everything in like their systems and their servers and whatnot. And if you want to change anything, you'd have to go to that body, request for information to be changed, and they would process it. They will tell you whether or not, it's possible to be done. In Nigeria, for example, there are some details you give that you cannot change. If you make a mistake, you become Sizwe Bansi is dead. I don't know about, that's all. He's gone. Sorry. But self-sovereign national ID cards, or digital ID cards rather, want to take the power from bodies or middlemen and give it to citizens. That's, the owners of the data. So this is going to be built on blockchain. Yes, the blockchain technology. And you have access to your data. So imagine you having access to your digital ID on your phone, right? And you don't need an NIMC. You don't need to apply to NIMC to say my NIN something like people are doing now. Pay 15,000, pay 20,000 to change your own name, or is your name, or it's not their name, your name. but you need to pay to change your name, so your name will reflect that, oh, this is now your name. And they're like, oh, why did you make the mistake in the first place? It may not be you. It might be the person who entered the data, right? Because I've seen that a couple of times. You tell someone my name is ABC, and they write ACC. And you're like, okay, they say I've sent it to, sorry, I can't do anything. You are now ACC. Bansi is now dead. No, so this is going to be trialed in Bhutan. It's a country in Asia, and limitless possibilities, I would say. And that's what technology, like the new emerging technologies, kind of give us. We don't know what the downsides to this may be for now, but I think it's one way to go, and it's good and important that people have some certain level of control, if not 100%, because it's like, come to think of it, it's my name, it's my data, it's my date of birth, it's me, it's everything, it's my fingerprints. I can decide whatever I want to do with it. Exactly. But then it's just something that's happening for the first time. And the Prince of Bhutan is the first person who actually signed up, and he's on record the first person who has a self-sovereign national digital ID card. So as we're moving towards biometrics and, digital IDs and whatnot, let's also think of these things, trying to ensure that the data that people generate not just belong to them, but they have access to it, and they can decide to do whatever they want with it. I mean, in Adekunle Gold's, it would be, at that point in time, you can call yourself an Ogaranya, because for now, sorry, you don't control your data. Your data is not yours. Well, it's yours technically, but you understand what I mean. So it's important to note that just like everyone's having a discussion about emerging tech called AI, artificial intelligence, a lot of people are also cashing out. Freelance job and career platforms have seen a boom in AI job postings and searches also. Indeed, right? I know it's called Indeed or Indeed, right? It's a job-related platform, and generative AI-related job posts increased nearly 250% from July 2021 to July 2023. Globally, job posts in English with references to OpenAI's ChatGPT or GPT have increased 21-fold since November 2022, according to LinkedIn. And the rise of generative AI is reshaping the freelance tech job market. AI-related job posts from employers and searches among job seekers have totally hit the roofs. LinkedIn, Upwork, and Fiverr are cases. How do you usually say that in? Case in point or case in view. So LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, right? And Microsoft is like the primary investor in the OpenAI. And for the first time, that large language model first broke, that's ChatGPT, in November 2022 when it went public. Now they have it for enterprise. You can pay for it, and your company would be using it. A lot of people have searched for ChatGPT, and a lot of roles that never existed before now have started coming into being just because of how the publicity around ChatGPT and generative AI. Now you have things like the search for people who can build chatbots increasing, the search for people who can actually teach people how to use ChatGPT as better writers, as better influencers, as better business people, as better whatever, right? And I know the number of people who reached out to say, I'm doing a course, and the course is I'm teaching you how to use ChatGPT. And I'm like, are you joking? Are you really joking with me? But then I see like 500 people signed up for this. I'm like, what? What? Okay, I'm not saying that, like, if you sit with an app, right, or if you sit with something for a while, you most likely learn how to use it. And this is not me Gen Z shading like millennial, right? No, it has nothing to do with that, because it's just like telling, a Gen Z that you want to teach him how to use TikTok, like, come and take a class for, learning how to use TikTok. They're like, come on, man. Nah. So, but nonetheless, if people can make money out of it, if people can actually make a living out of it, and if it means helping someone who really actually doesn't know how to go about it, then of course, why not? The services should be paid for. And if you're thinking of getting into this space, you may want to take a bachelor's that is related to computer science or engineering, right? And then you can find your way into courses, find your way into conferences and summits, and meet people who are actually working in this AI space, and then find your own niche and find your own space. Also on Udacity, that's it's an online learning company. It saw a 33% over the past year, the interest in AI-based courses, deep learning, AI program with Python, AI for trading. Yes, AI for trading. Yes, that's a thing too. I know that. Machine learning, DevOps engineer, computer vision, natural language, processing among the in-demand courses. Now, I know in-house that we have a machine learning person, a natural language and computer vision person. And early this year, we worked on a report on AI and human rights, and that opened my eyes into like a lot of things that currently happens that we do not know about, just like not the streets like this time, but the traffic cams. The traffic cams. Oh wow, a lot can happen with those traffic cams and with AI, trust me, a lot. But let's not go into it. So just while I was speaking last week with one of the researchers we work with internally, Owadara Kingsley, he was at the Deep Learning Ndaba. That's the summit for those on the continent who are into data science, data analytics, and all of that. And the amount of things and people who are already invested in data and AI and mining of all of those things and the conversations around it, ethical data and all of that is mind-blowing. You may want to think about getting yourself into that space, even if it means teaching teachers how to become better teachers with ChatGPT. All you just need to do is take a few online courses, ask the teachers what their pain points are, and then find out how to use that or integrate that knowledge into what you're going to be teaching them. It's really, really important. So you can start with ChatGPT, having an idea of what it is, how it works, and all of that. And ChatGPT API, DALL-E, DaVinci. There are a couple of other AI tools too that is not that, they're not ChatGPT. Just browse about them, find out what they're into. If you're a graphics designer, a content writer, anything whatsoever you are, you can find a space, your space, and some way you can maybe monetize it if possible. And if you don't want to monetize it, you might just be able to increase your earning power.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to catch up on all the live shows right here on africatechradio.com.